What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with...
Gersh1. I'm repositioning my shirt.
Does that count as, like, a special ability? Because, you know, when you're playing 40K, you're not really allowed to reposition unless you got, like, a Catan power or something like that.
Or if you give your warlord that trait.
Oh, I think I know. I think,
thing.
yeah, the cunningly brutal or brutally cunning.
Something like that, yeah.
But I think I know what it is.
What is it?
It's the ability called For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. I like how we got back on track. It's
Who said we ever left?
This question comes from Joe Jacques.
Joe Jacques?
Joe Jacques.
Bonjour.
Are all traitors in the Horus Heresy corrupted by chaos to some degree? No.
Yeah. Well, during the heresy.
Yeah, during the Horus Heresy, they weren't corrupted. Like, you can't say that they were corrupted. They weren't mutated, and they were corrupted in the sense of, like, they weren't for the Imperium anymore. But it's the way I think about it is kind of like during World War II, the German soldiers were Nazis, or they were led by the Nazi party, but they
didn't mean that they were all
right,
Nazis,
or that they even believed in that. Mm-hmm. Like, you could still be opposed to the political party, but you're a soldier, so you have to keep fighting for your country. Whereas, like, the non-Terran born Astartes weren't cool with Fulgrim turning into a fucking snake, but at the same time, like, they didn't want to see the Emperor's Children Legion just completely go. So, yeah. Right.
It's like, do you stand and fight for your beliefs, knowing that you can't stand up to a freaking chaos snake and you're gonna die?
Mm-hmm.
But you could still have renegade views that are opposed to chaos and opposed to the Imperium. And then that eventually puts you in like this gray area where you don't know what you're doing. And most often, the chaos gods are going to entice you to say, well, look at what the Emperor has done. Nothing. And look at everything I can give you. And that's usually enough to sway them.
And I honestly think the Alpha Legion is probably like a good example of double-crossing.
Both.
Yeah. So some of them obviously do have mutations,
mm-hmm.
but then there are others that are just like on that line between good and evil. So you can't really say that they are fully corrupted, but you can't say that they are for the Imperium. I wouldn't even say good.
Yeah, a good example is during the Bad Ebb War. Look at all the Space Marine chapters that were like, you know what, the Imperium isn't doing us justice. We're being oppressed. They're treating us like just a freaking... like a weapon. Like, they don't care about how this weapon is as long as it, slays the enemies of the Imperium. That's all that they matter. So because of that, they went renegade.
Yep.
And then...
Okay.
I was going to say, and then that renegadeness is what led them down the path towards chaos.
Yep. So the Mantis Warriors is the chapter that is the most, like what you're saying. Like, they showcase that in them, in that, like, they didn't know what to do. They knew that Luthieron was right, but also he was wrong because of what he was doing and the way he was acting. Mm-hmm. But by this point, they had gone too far. And I think that most people, or most legionnaires during the Horus Heresy kind of felt that way too, where they're like, well, Isstvan, the atrocities of Isstvan already happened. The Dropsite Massacre already happened. We're kind of too far in. Like, we need to take it all the way to Terra, and then we can figure out what's going to happen after that. So yeah, like, both in the Horus Heresy and now, you can have traitor Space Marines or renegade Space Marines that are not corrupted by chaos.
Right. Maybe the Brazen Drakes were actually this. A newly formed Primaris chapter who, word of mouth, somehow the Custodes found out that, hey, your battle brothers have turned chaos, or your battle brothers are renegades. Like, we need to put you down. And they're like, well, we haven't done anything. And he's like, it doesn't matter. And that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think the Custodes, they also know that, like, Space Marines are too self-sufficient. Space Marines don't really venerate the God Emperor, the Emperor, as they should. And so they're already on edge. They're already looking at these Space Marines like, we don't trust you, give us a reason. And that was reason enough.
Yep. Good question.
Very good.
Complex.
Like a Rubik's Cube.
This question comes from Chicken Waffles. Gersh, would you sacrifice Sound Alchemist to become a demon prince? Same question to you, but for the Sound Alchemist.
Would I sacrifice myself to become a demon prince?
No. Would you?
I mean, it's already me.
Yeah, but you kind of have to. Like, a part of you has to die in order to yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll choose my lower half to die.
Yeah, you would want a snake body like Fulgrim?
Mm-hmm.
So would I sacrifice the Sound Alchemist to become a demon prince? Yes.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Think about it. You'd be like, sorry, dude, I'll keep you in my memory. And then my body regresses into a potato head demon.
That would be cool. You came up with a really cool concept for those Xenos.
Potato head Xenos.
Yes.
Coming to a GW near you.
Next question.
This one's by King Kano Plays. Is Gilliman stronger on the tabletop or in the lore? I once saw him kill a Chaos Terminator squad easily, then a knight, then Terminators again, only because they came back. Dummies. So, could Gilliman do this in the lore too? In my opinion, no character is going to be as strong as they are in the lore on the tabletop.
Right.
Because of dice. In the lore, there's plot armor. You got writers who have a vivid direction that they want this character to take. So nothing that can happen will kill that character. However, on the tabletop, you're like, oh, Gilliman, he fought against Mortarion. He fought against Magnus, and he's still alive. Look at what he can do. And then he gets taken down by a squad of grots.
Yep.
It's like you rolled all ones. Like, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yeah.
And that's the downfall to, like, I think Battlefront does a really good job of showcasing how, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that those Gretchen killed the Gilliman. In Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, it would be like you're the Jedi, and then, like, a regular stormtrooper shoots you, kills you, but they don't really die. They just kind of, like, kneel down. Like, they say something, and then they disappear.
All right, stop, dude, stop. You can't kill me.
I don't want to play no more.
Yeah.
So I imagine that is what happened when, like, the Grots fired their mech guns, and then they hit Gilliman. Gilliman didn't technically die. He's just like, whoa, hold on, chill out. Yeah.
Dude, it wasn't written like this. Read the script.
He just leaves the battlefield. If you guys are going to play right, I'm not going to play. Next question.
Tom Donahue. Do Primaris chapters that are Firstborn Marines still have normal dreadnoughts, or will they just transfer to a Redemptor dread? Trying to create lore on friendly sides of the Emperor chapter, but I still want some Firstborn dreads because their chapter was killed by Gene Stealer cults. P.S. Love to see you guys cover a video on Gene Stealer cults in Space Marine chapters, or serves, or Marines themselves.
That's actually a really good idea. I might do that this week. Now, what exactly is, like, his scenario again?
So he's got a Primaris chapter who still has Firstborn Marines in them. Would those Marines be interred in regular dreadnoughts, or would it be a Primaris dreadnought?
I think it would be regular dreadnoughts just because of the extra organs that probably... It's kind of like software and hardware. It's like the software of a Primaris Marine is more advanced than the software of a regular Marine. So you wouldn't, like, you can't take the software of an old computer and put it in a new computer because it's just not going to work. Yeah. Or vice versa.
Right. Primaris dreadnoughts are meant to take in the body of a Primaris Marine.
Because of the special organs.
Mm-hmm. But I'm sure there's ways around it.
Yeah.
If you want to.
You do you.
Yeah, if you want classic dreadnoughts and the Primaris dreadnoughts in an army, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
This one's by Din Tran. Do Tyranids have souls?
No.
Yeah, they're pretty much just like goop that's being controlled by the hive mind. When they die, they turn into goop and they get either reabsorbed or they get left out because they weren't good enough.
Yep.
Rip.
This question comes from Simon Tees. If the Emperor's biological son became known and demanded to lead the Imperium until his father's return, what would happen? I'm pretty sure he would die. The High Lords of Terra are extremely like backstabbing, scheming. They're constantly vying for power, and if somebody shows up and is just like, yeah, I'm the rightful heir to the Emperor, or to the Imperium, like, completely pushing aside the fact that like I think that has been retconned, that doesn't exist anymore, and the fact that like it would be really really difficult for him to convince that, or to prove that he is the Emperor's son. If you get rid of all that and it's there, I don't think the High Lords of Terra and would allow that. No, I think he would be assassinated.
Right, they'd probably just laugh in his face and be like, "Huh, yeah." Boom, boom, boom. This one's by D Stonk 333. Do you think that the Necrons could do to the Chaos Gods what they did to the Catan? So make them into Pokemon? I mean, I feel like they got the technology to do it. Because, I mean, they've got, like, the obelisks that, like, seal off warp tears and stuff like that. So I could easily see them making, like, a prison for warp entities.
Yeah, the only problem with that is that the Necrons were able to do that to the Catan because the Catan trusted the Necrons. And Chaos does not trust anybody. They don't even trust themselves.
Right. It's like that one meme.
With the Kermit with the hood.
I was thinking of the one with the kid, and then there's like the same kid behind him with a gun.
I've never seen that one.
No.
But yeah, it would be difficult for them to do that. And also, I think their plan is to just disconnect the galaxy from the Immaterium, which is what they're doing in the what is it? The Cicatrice? No. What is the Nebula Nexus? Pariah Nexus.
Yes.
That's what they're doing there.
This one is by Kyle Ellis. When I began playing in grade 7, mind you, back in 2002, I bought a mix of colors over a 6-week period. I ended up with only one green, but several shades of purple. So once I was able to get my first kit, I chose orcs, and I needed to improvise. My orcs were pumped full of poison, and when they died, they released fog to explain why my orcs were now purple. So, what color would you paint your orcs if all of the green paint you had vanished? And what would be the backstory given to them?
A pale white. There's actually a guy on Instagram that I follow that creates some awesome orc just miniatures. Like he just did a fulgrim, like an orc fulgrim. I'm gonna find him right now.
Orc fulgrim?
Yeah, it's really badass. It looks super badass. But
why is it that they're white though?
So the background that I would probably make is just that they're like deficient in some type of like something biological. So they're not like okay, they're sick, which is why they fight green skin orcs.
I thought you were gonna bring up that Mean Girls things like, oh my god, you can't ask somebody why they're white.
I've never heard that.
You've never seen Mean Girls?
I have, but like in bits and pieces, and I don't really remember too much of it. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, they're white and they fight green skin orcs because of the sickness.
Yes, just like that.
Because they're down with the sickness. But that is cool, though. Like, the white color scheme in an orc does work. Look at Lord of the Rings. The main bad guy in The Hobbit is essentially a white orc, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Yep. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
Why is he white?
To differentiate himself? I don't know.
But like, there has to be, because Tolkien did a really good job of like fleshing out the story. So I'm pretty sure he fleshed out that character too.
Not just that, but he's got that like arm that's cut off.
Oh yeah.
Another way to differentiate him.
Yeah, and he was massive.
But if I was playing orcs, I think, kind of cliche, but I think I'd go with a red scheme to basically personify the red orcs that have been fighting in the warp. And you have like Tuska, Demon Killer leading them. So that like they're big, they're monstrous, almost like Red Hulk in a way. So that would be my my color scheme.
That's cool. I still haven't found it, so let's move on to the next question, and then once I find him, I will give him a shout out.
He's actually got a part 2 to his question, which is, and what color do you think would look the worst on orcs? I tried a Caucasian human on a few as infiltrators. I'm never doing that again. And then I tried them as black orcs because it's hard to see in the dark.
I think the worst skin color for an orc would be black. Well, no, not really. You can make any color work.
Yeah. I'd say maybe like pink orcs.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes,
yeah.
because I think the guy that I'm talking about also did some pink orcs.
Because I was gonna say you could have them be like Slaneshi converted and have like not like a bright pink, but like a pink that's been kind of diluted, so it's almost like human skin, but still pink enough. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, because like look, he made that one. That one's pink.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
And it looks really cool. So the Instagram name is Quarter Paint. And he actually has a YouTube channel. Let me see if it says... Oh, he's from New York. That's kind of cool.
I bet he wears Tim's.
Probably. His name's Josh. But yeah, shout out to that Instagram. Go follow him, Quarter Paint. And he has a YouTube channel, Quarter Paint YouTube channel. Really cool orc color schemes. And he has that. I didn't even show you the Orc Fulgrim. I think he's going to do one for every Primarch.
Oh, that's really badass.
Let him know that we sent you if you go check him out.
Wow, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Because when I saw it on my feed, I was like, oh, that looks like Fulgrim. And then I read the thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a project that he purposefully did. Yeah, so yeah.
Can't wait to see what the Angron orc would look like.
Dreads.
That's what I was thinking.
Next question.
Oh, this one's by Dintran. If Librarian dreadnoughts contain one person, can you soup a Librarian dreadnought with multiple Psyker brains to amplify the ability of Psykers? I don't know, because, like, would that brain still be conscious? And if so, wouldn't that be kind of like fighting for, like, supremacy of, like, oh, I'm in control, or why would I help you? And there's, like, almost, it'd be too much, I think.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it's like you're kind of wasting all these minds on one dreadnought, whereas like you can have multiple dreadnoughts and be more efficient.
Because if that one dreadnought dies, then
yeah, there goes 10 of the best psychers that the chapter had.
Yeah.
This question comes from Hard Bass Dodge or Doge. What type of music would your Marines listen to? What type of music would Space Marines listen to? I don't know why I said yours.
Probably some Simon and Garfunkel.
Probably, yeah. Recently, I've been listening to a song that was on TikTok. That's actually really good. I'll look it up. Oh, also, Space Marines would probably listen to, like, the lo-fi hip-hop, the Cowboy Bebop one. You should check it out on YouTube. It's pretty sweet.
But in all reality, they probably listen to some Gregorian chant.
Probably, yeah. Just like that, yeah.
Sign me, WB.
Thundercat Funny Thing, you guys should check out, too. It's pretty good.
Thundercats.
Next question. This will be the last question.
The last question.
Oh.
Muhammad Mir.
Oh.
How do Space Marine plasma weapons and bolters differ from that of the Sororitas and the Imperial Guard? Because, of course, don't they got to be bigger in terms of power? But how different?
They're just bigger.
Yeah. It always amazed me as to how Guardsmen and the Sisters of Battle can pick up a bolt pistol and fire it with one hand without it, like, ripping or, like, recoiling back.
I like to think of them as, like, champions. Like, they are very unique within humanity. That specific model is very unique and gifted, and he or she can do that. Because in the lore, it does state that if a regular human picks up even a bolt pistol and fires it, it's going to blow up, or it's going to, like, destroy the, what is this called? Wrist.
The wrist.
Or just, like, completely obliterate your wrist. So.
Yeah. Because in the movies, it's different than, like, in real life. Because, like, people be picking up, like, shotguns and firing it one-handed, and it's like...
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Especially, like, Evil Dead. He's got a freaking sawed-off shotty, and he's firing it with one hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless of that, badass, but not realistic.
Yeah.
But it's 40K. I mean, they're all being pumped full of serums and combat drugs and all this stuff.
That's true, yeah. A lot of those guardsmen are high.
Because, I mean, if you're fighting freaking things of the warp, you need a little pick-me-up.
Yep.
Coffee's not going to do it.
It goes for that sweet, never mind.
And those are the questions for today.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, as always, it's been The Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
And we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.